So I've got a question for you today. What if you had $50 in your pocket and absolutely no recording gear? What would be the first thing that you would buy for your home or your mobile studio? Well, in this video, that's the question that I'm looking to answer. So in the next probably around 60 minutes, we're going to dive into some of the best budget gear for your home or your mobile studio. But if it's your first time here, who am I? And what is this all about? Well, my name is Pete, and this is StudioLive Today, where my goal is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And I do that through tips and tricks and tutorials and also these weekly live streams. So if you haven't subscribed already, consider subscribing. So what we're going to talk about today, here's the format. Here's what we're going to be going through. We're going to give an overview, or I'm going to give an overview of the budget gear that I recommend, some of the things that I use right now, and some of the things that I've used in the past. We're then going to break down into 5 different categories. We're going to go audio interfaces, microphones, headphones, MIDI keyboards, and cables and accessories. That all important and exciting final category. We're then going to answer some of the questions. So if you're here live on the live stream, you can jump in at any time and ask questions, and just put big questions or question marks around it just so that I can see those stand out. Or if you've got any comments and you just want to say hello and let me know where you're tuning in from, that is cool too. I'd love to hear from you here on the live stream. If you're watching on the replay though, don't worry at all. You can also join in the fun. So drop a comment down below, ask a question, give your feedback, your advice on what you would buy if you had just $50 and you didn't have any gear in your studio. Oh, and hang around to the end, because I actually asked this question on a community tab. So I put a poll out there. So I'm going to release the results of the poll. I actually said, which would you choose? And I've got some interesting results there in the poll. So hang around to the end if you want to find out the results of the poll, or, you're watching on the replay, you can fast forward to, don't fast forward to the end. So we're about to jump into it. A couple of quick things. You can follow along at home. There's a comment down the bottom there, which takes you to StudioLiveToday.com/budget, which is a page that I've set up just for this live stream. So that's where you can jump over. I'll show you what it looks like here so you can get a bit of an idea. If we flick over, this is what I've set up here. So, yep, there's the video link if you're already here, obviously. And here's all the links to what we're talking about. So, yes, if you're quick and you can look, I've just spoiled it. And now you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you had to be pretty quick. So, go over to that link if you want to find out. You can also go to my gear guide, which is at StudioLiveToday.com/gear. If you want to check out some of the rest of the gear that I use, there are a couple of links there. But let's jump in and get started here, because we've got a lot to get through and a little bit of time. Let's say good day to the folks we've got here. We've got Goth Demon 666. We've got Vinny Gaglio. Hello to you. Darren Bryant, Jason Robert, Jeff Turner, Techmiak, and K Sharp TV. T-Mac. Sorry, that was harder than I thought. Hello to the folks that are here live. So let's get into the first section. So this is my overview section where I go for about 10 minutes and I give you the quick taste. So you know what? If you're time poor and if you just want to go, Pete, give me the information. Let me know what we need to do here, because I need to be on my way. Do you need gear? Let's start with that question. No. So I'm a big advocate that if you have your phone, if you've got an iPhone or an iPad and GarageBand, you can basically start creating. You can plug in your cheap Apple earbuds. You can record with them. You can record with the built-in microphone. You can record using the on-screen touch screen. Even if you don't have an iPhone or an iPad, you're using a Mac or a PC, grab the free GarageBand on a Mac, or you can grab BandLab by Cakewalk on your PC. So there's free options. You need very little gear to actually get started with virtual instruments. You can start recording. So before you think I'm going to start selling you and pushing the hard sell and saying you should buy gear, you need gear for your studio. No, you need to be able to create first. And I think creation comes before the actual gear. Sometimes people flip it around and it makes it hard. Can you use budget gear and get a good sound? This is a question I get a lot. People are saying, and the reason I'm doing this stream is that I've actually got this question legitimately, which is, hey, I've got $50 to spend. I want to improve and level up my sound. What do I get? How do I spend my $50 the best way? So that's why I wanted to give some options here. But you can absolutely, the good news is that when I was starting out, the budget gear was really quite crappy. Like, it wasn't that good. What's happened is in the last 20 years since I started recording, the bottom end has risen. So the cheaper stuff we're going to talk about today, the Behringer, the Samson, the cheaper Sennheiser stuff, all of this stuff is now so much better. Tascam, they're all making good quality products even at the entry level. So we're actually I always say we live in the future. You're very lucky that you're creating right now, where with just a few dollars you can get some really good stuff. Is it going to be the best sound? And will you use that gear forever? That's sort of question 3. No, and not necessarily. So I still have some gear that I bought really early on that I still use. This microphone, the Samson C01, it's a $70 microphone. I've got more expensive microphones now. I still come back to the Samson C01 because it suits my voice, it's clear, it's solid, it just does a great job. So you will move on. Some of the things you'll get something. So my first interface, for instance, I've got a Focusrite. No, I didn't. I got a really cheap USB interface, and then I upgraded to the Scarlett 2i2 from Focusrite, and now I use a Steinberg UR44 as my main interface. So yeah, you can level up and upgrade, and who knows, I might get an Audient, or I might go Presonus StudioLive or something soon. So yeah, you can level up things. So what, like I said, I still use much of my budget gear right now. So what gear should you actually go for? Well, your workflow and the type of music that you are creating is actually going to guide you. It's actually going to drive what you actually need to buy. So, for instance, headphones. I talked about headphones before. If you're using loops and samples, you're an electronic and EDM producer, you're making beats, you're doing that sort of thing, headphones might be a good first investment. Even a $50 pair of headphones can give you a good stereo sound and a good feel for your mix. And if all of the rest of your production is using virtual sound samples and MIDI and all of the virtual synth instruments, then yeah, maybe headphones is what you go for. So that's sort of point number 1. Point number 2, microphones. So if you are a singer-songwriter, if you're recording mostly live sounds, if you're recording vocals and instruments and guitars, then maybe you want to up microphones in your list. You want to get a decent quality microphone because you want to be able to capture the subtleties. If you're grabbing a guitar and you're playing like some fingerstyle, then you need a decent microphone to pick that up. So yeah, if you're a singer-songwriter, then go for something like a microphone. Audio interface. So I've got a heap of videos if you're new to recording and you want to know what an audio interface is all about. But basically, it is the digital to audio analog or analog to digital conversion that you can hook up to your Mac, your PC, your iPhone, or your iPad. So usually USB, but there's other options we're going to talk about in this video as well. It's tricky because by itself, it doesn't really do a lot. Like unless you are, say, a guitarist and you get an audio interface that has a guitar input, then yeah, it's going to level you up straight away. If most of what you're recording is guitars, my buddy David Thiessen does some great instrumentals in GarageBand, and yeah, for someone like that, I would say, yeah, audio interface is a great idea, because if you're playing electric guitar, plugging that sucker in, you're going to get a much better sound than using nothing or some of the cheaper products. So we'll get into that. And finally, MIDI keyboards. So MIDI keyboards, you might say again, at the $50 range, yeah, you might be sort of pushing to get something good, but there's some really good ones, especially if you're buying secondhand, that you can actually grab. And why would you want a MIDI keyboard as your first one? Well, again, if you're an electronic music producer, if you're playing keyboards, you're a pianist, or you're a keyboard player, and you want to use synth sounds, and you want to use virtual instruments, and you want to layer up maybe some loops and samples with your own played in parts, it can be a lot easier to use that than, if you're on a Mac or a PC, you're using your keyboard, your typing keyboard, and if you're on your touchscreen device, you're tapping on the touchscreen. So yeah, MIDI keyboard can be really good idea for that. So what are some other things that we need to talk about here? Well, when you are buying, so let's assume you're buying this gear. Here's a couple of tips for that, because again, you can get into traps, and I got into these traps. I'll tell you a couple of little stories here. Early on, like most people, I was like, okay, what do I need? I need to buy some things, and I bought some stuff from eBay. And yes, your mileage may vary when you buy from eBay, and Wish.com is kind of the same deal. Basically, if you look at a product and it is way too cheap to actually be what it says it is, there's a very high chance that it's not actually what it says it is. If you're buying a Shure SM57 microphone for $20, it's probably not a Shure SM57 microphone. So I bought some cheap knockoffs early on from eBay because, hey, it looked good and it sounded good, but when you get it, the quality is not there. So what is my advice? Well, stick to the brand names. And I know that might sound snobbish, and it doesn't have to be the top-end brand names. Like Behringer is cool, Samson is cool, I use these products, but stick to actual brand names that are not like the no-name generics, because they tend to be less quality because they don't have any brand name to sit behind them, and buy from reputable retailers. And you might be saying, Pete, you just want us to go to Amazon and buy from your affiliate links. Well, of course, I would love you to go to Amazon and go to StudioLiveToday.com/gear and buy from there. But if you're not using Amazon, go to like a reputable site. So I think in the US, I forgot the name of it now, like Guitar Center, or the other big one, Sweetwater. Here in Australia, we have DJ City and we have Store DJ, so and Manny's Music. So go to places that you actually know. The UK and Europe, sorry, I'm not familiar. Someone can throw in the comments in the chat here. Where do you buy in the UK? But yeah, buy from somewhere reputable that you know you're going to need to return. Here's a side note, but I actually bought this recently, and this is I'm a bit sad about this, and it may just be this version I got, but I got the Zoom IQ7 here, the Zoom microphone for iOS, and it just isn't doing it for me. It's either faulty or it's by design, but I get interference when I've got my Wi-Fi on. So if I'm streaming, I get these clicking sounds in my audio, and I'm a bit particular about that. But the good news is, bought it from Amazon, went on there this morning, said I'd like to return it. Faulty, defective, not doing what I want, and they went, yep, here's your postage label, send it back, refund on its way. So yeah, that's the advantage of buying from somewhere reputable. So that is it. What do you think? This is my question to you. So if you're here in the live chat, let me know. Do you agree with this sort of statement? Are there things that you would actually buy that you would put above other things? Is $50 even enough? Like, do you need to spend more than that? I'd love to hear your feedback and your opinions. And as I mentioned, we'll be rounding back and we'll be chatting to the folks here, but also reading some of the comments. So by the way, if you did reply to that poll, hang around, because I'll give you a shout out, and we'll read out some of those comments that other people have said, because my opinion is just one guy, and I would like to hear the opinion of a bunch of other people as well. Alrighty, that was quick. That was the quickest rant I've had, I think. We'll have a quick sip of coffee, and then we'll come and chat to the folks here who are kind enough to be here live on the stream today. I think I've said hello to most of the folks here. Jeff Turner, g'day from Adelaide. We've got an Adelaide representative in the house. Welcome. T-Max here from Orlando, Florida. My buddy Jason Robert from Chicago, Illinois. K-Sharp TV says, what's up? We've got Yiving Vibes here. Soundtrap is also free and really good. So Jason Roberts thrown that out. Soundtrap, a DAW, I'm assuming. Good suggestion. Jason Roberts said you can get a great set of drum set mic from Pile for about $50, still using them, and not just for drums. See, there you go. You can find some of these bargains that really work for you. Hello to Mike Swaim. Hello to you. Luke Shaw Music is here as well, and Goth Demon says totally agree. Well, there you go. We can finish up now. There's a lot to talk about in this, and there's a lot of other information that we're going to dive into in more detail, because I've got some of the products sitting over here that I've bought and that I use, and we're going to do a bit of a live unboxing here as well. I know. Who doesn't love a good unboxing? So we'll get to that in a moment. But we've got audio interface, microphone, headphones, MIDI keyboards, and cables and accessories to go through. And once again, if you're just joining me here on the live stream, there is a companion website you can go to, StudioLiveToday.com/budget, and that will take you to a website that looks a little bit like this. In fact, it looks exactly like this, because this is it, and you can click in here and follow along. So if you want a spoiler, you can already come in there and see exactly what we'll be going through here today. Alrighty, so let's come back. Let's start talking in more detail about some of this different gear. So we're going to start with audio interfaces. Now, if you've seen more than one video of mine, I've probably mentioned my love affair with the Steinberg UR12 audio interface. And I'm not talking about this much today, because currently it's, I think, about $70, $80 at the moment to buy US, and I wanted to keep it under 50. But around the Black Friday sales last year, they had this sucker for $49.99, and I pushed a few people onto that, and some people picked this up for less than $50, which is pretty cool. But the reason I like this is that it's solid. It's got so many options. I won't bore you with the details, but it's a great audio interface, and it's great for your Mac and your PC, but also for iPad and iPhone. And the key to choosing an audio interface is, again, what you'll actually be recording. So someone, and I'll read the comments out later, someone said, especially if you're a guitarist, grab an iRig, and that will just change your world. And I agree. If you grab the iRig, which you can get the iRig 1 and iRig 2 for definitely under $50. The iRig HD, I think, retails for a little more. Let's just have a quick check here while I'm talking. But if you don't know about iRigs, they're basically a very simple adapter device that you plug directly into your iPhone or iPad. So yeah, we are probably talking more about your mobile users here, but it's a great way to actually start recording. So your iRig HDs are in the $70 to $80 range. So yeah, wouldn't be able to cover that. But what are we actually talking here? So which ones are actually under $50? So this is where I said before that I had a little bit of an unboxing here. So I get a lot of questions about this device here. This is the Behringer UM2, and this is officially the cheapest brand name audio interface on the market. So it is a 2-in, 2-out USB audio interface. It's got some limitations which we'll talk about, but it's how much does it cost? What's its current price? It moves around a little bit, but if we take a look here on Amazon, there we are. It is $38.99, and there you go. It looks like that, and it looks like that, but it also looks like this. So let's open this up, because I've literally and hopefully this. Oh no, it's got a sticker on there. This is where Pete should have brought a knife. I should just keep a knife or a pair of scissors handy, shouldn't I? Let's talk about this while I awkwardly take the wrapping off. So it's a 16-bit interface. So you're not going to get 24-bit or 48-bit high quality bit rate. 48-bit, 24-bit. I've ripped the packaging here. And it's 44.1 kilohertz sampling rate. So again, it's entry level. And from what I've heard and what I've read, here we go. There's the opening there. The build quality isn't fantastic. It's made of plastic, so most of your audio interfaces, like the Steinberg UR12, are made out of metal and aluminium, and they're really strong. This thing is made of plastic. So that being said, the packaging there was reasonably good. This is what it looks like. It's a little tacker here. So yeah, it's not particularly weighty, as you can probably tell. Just rip into this. I hope I don't have to return this, because the packaging's not going to be in great shape once I do. But I wanted to show this because, it's got the nice, this is the silica gel. Do not eat, people. If you're buying products, do not eat this gel. I know it looks delicious, but do not eat. Resist the temptation. So here it is. So yeah, pretty lightweight, made of plastic. It's got the dials here on the top. So you've got your mic input there, you've got your guitar input, and you've got your output. But honestly, if you have nothing right now, if you're using your Mac or your PC or even your iPhone or your iPad, and you're just plugging stuff in, or you're just using onboard microphone, this is going to level you up pretty good. Like for $40, this is going to give you some significant gains, pun intended, high gain. So yeah, so you got your XLR connection on that side, you've got your guitar input connection, you've got direct monitoring on this one. You've got a headphone jack there, the instrument jack there, and on the back, you've got a USB switch here, you've got 48 volts of phantom power, and you've got RCA output. So you know what? You're getting everything that you could possibly kind of need. So yeah, you're paying about half what you would for the Steinberg or for a Focusrite or for a Presonus, because it's the brand name, it's Behringer, and they sell cheaper stuff. But this is going to be tested very soon. So I'll be giving this a go. The thing to keep in mind, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but before you rush out and buy it, if you are using an iPhone or an iPad, because it is USB, you'll need things like your Lightning to USB adapter, and you will need a powered USB hub also to run this. We'll talk about that in more detail as we get to it. But again, if you're starting out for $38.99, you almost can't go wrong. Like when I plug this in, if it sounds good, even if it doesn't sound great and fabulous, I'll probably be recommending it. And that's why I don't recommend things lightly. I want to use them. I want to know them before I recommend them. And 99% of the time I buy them out of my own pocket. So yes, I bought this and had it shipped over from the US through Amazon. And again, hopefully it doesn't have to be returned. So that is one of your options for an audio interface. What other options do you have? Well, because I'm big into mobile recording, and because this channel is all about mobile recording, my preference and my actual recommendation for folks, if you've got an iPad or one of the older iPhones that has a 3.5mm jack, and even if you don't, even if you're using it with one of your little lightning adapters, something like this can be amazing. Reason for this is you don't need an additional USB cable, you don't need power, you don't need a powered USB hub. I don't know why I'm showing you there, because here it is here. So let's come back. So this is it. This is the Tascam IX Zed. You can see there, we've got a combo jack on this side where you can plug in your microphone or your guitar. We can then dial in which we want here, whether it's the instrument or the microphone. We've got 48 volts of phantom power. I know, like on a little thing like this. We've got a headphone socket here for direct monitoring, so we can monitor that. And we've got our input gain here as well. So we can actually dial in the input gain and get a really good sound out of this. Now, what's the difference between this and a USB one? Well, this is analog. So that means that you're not going to get the absolute optimal quality, because you're plugging it in via your 3.5mm jack. And as opposed to using USB, where it's actually using the digital connection into your Lightning port or into your PC or your Mac, it's using this. But you can use these with any of your Android devices, your iPhone, iOS devices that have a 3.5mm jack. And the beauty part is, it's run on 2 AA batteries. So yes, you can just throw a couple of energizers in there and you are good to go. And you've got your phantom power, you can run your microphones, you can run your guitars. And the last few demo videos I've done, I've just grabbed this and pulled this out and and use this. I'm going to say play with this. It was sounding really bad. And use this to actually record my guitars, my vocals, and everything else that I need. It is super cool, and it's super affordable. If we'll flash back to that. Again, $45.99 at the moment, down from $59.99. So yes, thankfully it's under retail price there, which is why I recommend it. 3.5-star rating. Most of those, read the reviews. But I think most of the people that are disappointed are probably not realizing the difference in the fact that this is an analog signal. So you're taking, say, a microphone, you're plugging that in, and then you're plugging an analog out from that into your device. You're basically doing 2 levels of analog conversion or analog signal in your chain. So you're not going to get that crystal clear digital sound, but you know what? You're recording some crunchy guitars, some rock vocals, some rap, some R&B, some hip hop. Is it really going to matter? Is anyone soloing your tracks and listening for that little bit of noise floor and background noise? They're probably not. So keep that in mind. So yeah, once again, that's over at StudioLiveToday.com/budget. If you are interested in picking up either the Behringer UM2 or the Tascam IX Zed, and again, both of those for under $50 is ridiculous. Like, yeah, again, 10 years ago, these sort of devices for that sort of price, forget about it. Like, things are so much cheaper now. It's weird. Yeah, inflation and all that sort of gear, but yeah, it's actually a lot cheaper. So what about you? What interface do you use? Do you think that you can get away with a $50 interface? Love to hear your feedback on that one. All right, let's see if we've got any comments here from the folks online before we jump into the next set of gear. So Steve Dalbeck, Denver, Colorado. Hello. Been listening and subscribed for a couple of months. Good info. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeving Vibe says, if you're a recording artist, as I am, all you need is a headset with a mic and a pop filter connected to your phone. That's it. Absolutely. You can get away with a lot less. T-Max says, headphones are a primary. $50 well spent. I'm glad I got the ATH50, approximately $150. We'll talk about headphones in a moment. Gussie Wells is in the house. Hello to you. All good there. And Dion Close says, Pete, can you make a video on where you get free instruments, loops, and samples? Thank you. Yeah, so the most recent video I did was about drum samples and getting drum samples and loops from Lambda.com, actually. And I've done another video about how you can download from freesound.org. Have a play around there, freesound.org, very good place. And Patrick Moonbird says hello, and Vincent Gaglio said, what are the iRig? Okay. So hopefully you were asking that, and then I talked about it. But yeah, if you go to, check them out on Amazon. There's 2 versions. One uses a 3.5mm jack and one uses your lightning port to connect. The HD versions use the lightning port, so there's a couple of options that you have there. All right, we're actually on track for time today. This is amazing. I normally spend hours. No, I don't really. I'm getting better at getting to the point. I get a few comments at least every week saying, skip to 4 minutes 26 where he starts actually talking about anything relevant. So now I try to get to the point. Let's talk about microphones, because I love microphones. I've got a lot of different microphones. None of them are top end. I don't own any $500 or $1,000 microphones. But the question is, can you get away for under $50 for a microphone? This was one of the tougher categories for me, because the microphones I usually recommend are this one, the Samson CO1, it's over on my gear guide, the Shure SM57, if you're looking for a dynamic microphone, or SM58, and they're a $100 microphone, and the MXL 550, 551 pack, and they're about $60 to $70 usually as well. So again, you can go to StudioLiveToday.com/gear if you want to check those out, which are my usual recommendations if you're spending up to about $100. But if you want to get under $50, there are some options. So the very first microphone I owned, the very first microphone I owned was like an old one, which I found this morning because someone asked about it, and yeah, it was like a $20 one from Tandy Electronics, which is like our Radio Shack back in the day. They're all closed down now because retail stores, right? But yeah, it was like a $20 mic. But the first sort of serious mic I bought was a Shure, but it wasn't an SM57, it was a PGA 57. And the PGA series, or the PG series from Shure, are their like cut down entry level mics. So if you take a look at this is the PGA 48, which is $39 at the moment. A very good deal. It's about the same if you're in the UK or Canada. By the way, the links I have, I've gone to special links because I know that I usually just push the US links out there. I've got Canada, I've got UK, I've even got Germany, France, Italy, Spain. I've tried to find links. Sadly, Australia, we don't have a lot of links. Like, it's hard to find this stuff in Australia. You pretty much have to go to Store DJ or DJ City online to find that, which, I haven't got the links for all those yet, sorry, but just go and search them. So this one, the PGA 48. So again, this is a similar. It's a cardioid dynamic vocal microphone. You can see they're very reminiscent of the SM 58, but it's the PGA 48, and this is why it's so cool. $39, you get all that. Like you get the box there, you get the bag. I've still got a couple of those Shure bags. You get a microphone clip with the adapter, so you can thread it onto either type of mic stand. You get an XLR cable, and you get the microphone. So yeah, you really can't go wrong with this. And like I said, I got this as my first one, and back in the days when I had my very first audio interface, I had the audio interface, and then I bought this, and I plugged it in, and I had everything good to go. So you can actually get started without actually breaking the bank. So there's a whole bunch of different mics in the PGA range. And again, they only differ by the build quality is not quite there. They're not like built like tanks and bricks like the SM58 and 57 are. So be a little bit more careful with them. And again, their design is more of a consumer level as opposed to a prosumer kind of level product. So again, it's definitely worthwhile, though, starting out with that. And the beauty part with these is I think I bought mine for more than that Australian. It was, I can't remember, $58 Australian. I then resold it 2 years later on eBay for $40. So I lost $18 in 2 years, and I got 2 years of use and recorded some good sounds with my old PGA 58. And I'm sure whoever bought it from me, it was still in perfect condition. I'm sure they're still using it to record good sounds. So yes, it's the other thing. Don't forget that you can go to the used market, you can go on eBay, and again, buyer beware, just be careful, buy from reputable people, try not to get ripped off, make sure you're getting the genuine article, otherwise you could be a little disappointed. All right, what do I have else in my notes here about microphones? That was probably it. Yeah, it was. So there's your option. Now, you can go down the USB microphone route. The reason I didn't talk about USB microphones here is because I did an entire live stream, an entire show, entire video all about USB microphones. So again, if you go to StudioLiveToday.com/gear, I talk about all of those. Now, most of those will be in the $60 to $70 range as well. So it is a little bit tricky to get a USB mic that's going to be under $50. But the Samson Meteor, actually, what is the Samson Meteor selling for right now? I should know this stuff off the top of my head. I look at this all the time. But if you are looking for a USB mic, my go-to is the Samson Meteor. Oh, it's $53, no, $54. 53 and 54, depending on the color. So it doesn't quite qualify, but let's just have a quick squiz at it. Anyway, look at it. It's a thing of beauty, the little droid-looking thing there. Samson Meteor mic USB, 4.5-star rating again. So yeah, you really can't go wrong with these. Now, I talked briefly about the difference between 16-bit and 24-bit audio before, and the Behringer being 16-bit. So when you're using some of this entry-level gear, you'll get 16-bit audio. Now, that is CD quality sound, right? But what we've seen in the last 5 years is that most of the gear that's being used is 24-bit, and the sampling rate, 44.1 kilohertz is the standard, and that, again, that's CD quality. Some people are using 48, 96, 192. I can't tell the difference. Maybe audiophiles are all about that, and you know, it can't hurt to record in better quality unless it does, which it almost certainly will. No, so that's a joke. Yeah, it can't hurt unless it will, unless it does, which it almost certainly will. I'm getting off track, but yeah, you're going to run out of disk space is the final point I'll make there, because your files, the higher bit rate, the higher sampling rate, the bigger they are. All right, coffee time. And time to move on. So we've talked audio interfaces. We have talked microphones. Let's jump in now and talk about headphones. Yes, here they are. I couldn't find my notes there for a moment. So, as you may know by what is on my face right now, I'm a Sennheiser fan. These are the Sennheiser HD280s, and these are my go-to headphones. Like they've served me well for many, many years. I've only just started to get on the top there some wear. So these are about 6 years old, I think, 5 years, 6 years old. These are the older model. There's slight design changes now, but they have held up exceptionally well. They are so comfortable. I can sit here for an hour and I just forget that I'm even wearing them. So yes, but they are a $100 headphone. So if you have $100 and you want a good quality pair of headphones that you can use for monitoring, for tracking, for mixing, for mastering, all-purpose go-to, these are the ones. AKG make a bunch of good headphones. Sony, a bunch of other brands. Your preferences may be different. Do your research, look around, dig about. Now, what about if you're under $50? Well, the headphones that I actually started with were these ones here. And they are Sennheiser, again, the HD201. And these are a very simple design. They're a very simple sort of headphone. They don't have the fancy options like the curly cable cord here and all the premium sort of bits and pieces that's going to make sure that things don't pop out and do things. So you need to be a bit more careful with them. But I used these for probably the first 4 or 5 years that I was doing music and I was recording, and they do a really good job. Same thing, not quite as comfortable. You can see they don't have the padded top there, but they've got the nice big foam covers that go all the way over your ears. There you go. Oh, they do have the padded top. There you go. The version I had didn't have that. Well, there you go. They've improved it, and look at that. You look that stylish. You can lay on your stomach and you can listen to things while looking vacantly out the window. I'm just jealous because I don't have hair like that guy. So yes, the Sennheiser HD201 lightweight over-ear headphones. They are much lighter weight than some of the more pro models. The drivers in there aren't quite as powerful. You don't get quite the frequency response and the range. But again, if you're getting started and you're working on like the cheap earbuds that you get with your phone or some $10 earbuds, upgrading to something like this, even a $40 or $50 pair of headphones like the Sennheiser HD201s, can actually help you out. Again, especially if you're doing that electronic production, you're just listening to music, you want to get a more realistic feel for what the music's actually doing. Don't throw away your earbuds because you want to listen on those too. You want to do some comparisons and reference your mixes. We'll talk about that in more detail on another show. So it's pretty much as simple as that. Now again, don't worry so much about things. If you've only got earbuds or if you've only got the built-in earbuds and your microphone, you can still get by. Why? Because where are most people listening to music? Well, not sadly, it's just the way it is, but most people are listening to music on the earbuds that come with their phones these days, or they're buying some Beats by Dr. Dre, and they're just, you can't make music sound good on that. So I won't rant on Beats, but yes, if you want to hear bass and not much else, buy some Beats. I guess I did rant on that. That's about as ranty as I'm going to get today, I promise. Maybe. Alrighty, let's come back and have a chat and see if there's any questions or comments here from the folks that we have here live, and then we'll finish this off. So what have we got here? So Patrick Moonbird says, the last thing I used for my guitar was the iRig 2, but now I use the Behringer UMC 2x2. So the Behringer UMC, the HD series, are like the UM2s, but they have slightly better quality sound, and they have, that's about it, and better quality outputs. So you can up that, and I'm working at the moment. It's taking me a while because there are so many different types, but I'm working at the moment on a complete audio interface guide, which will be available soon. But again, trying to limit how many I actually include on that has been a little bit challenging. So we'll get back to that. Alrighty, let's continue on. What have we got next? Well, we have MIDI keyboards. Now, can you see? Let me just check if you can. Yeah, so you can see my collection over there. At the moment, I have 2 MIDI keyboards. I've got an old, pre-M audio one, which is like what I'm going to show you here, which is an old key station. I've got my Korg micro keys there, and I've also got my Artiphon, which, if you can't really count that as a USB keyboard or a MIDI keyboard, but I've got my Artiphon Instrument 1 over there. But what if you're starting out? What if you got $50? You probably want it portable. You've probably got limited space. Well, my go-to in that case recommendation is this little sucker here. So I recommend the 49 key model of this, the M Audio Key Station 49 Mark III. But if you want something smaller and cheaper and more portable, then this is what I would go for, which is the Key Station Mini 32 Mark III. So what do you get for that? Well, you can see there what you get. You get all of the things that you would get with pretty much any MIDI keyboard. You get your USB port on the side there. You've got your volume adjustments. You can adjust your octave there. Now, you don't get things like a modulation, a pitch bend wheel. You get a button, which is a little bit more awkward. So yes, there's some trade-offs there, but again, you get the opportunity to do that, and you get some other sustain and edit options and funky things that you can do there, which, depending on the software you're using, may or may not be supported. So let's take a look at some of the pictures. There it is, being used with M Audio interfaces, and yeah, that's a pretty cool setup. That's something that you could set up yourself for your portable studio. But yeah, there you go. It's low profile. They're not going to be weighted keys. They're not big keys. So if you got chunky fingers like me, keep that in mind. But if you want to get in entry level for less than $50, there you go. So you can throw in some melodies. You can record some melody lines there. It looks nice. Yeah. It'll look cool. You can sit at Starbucks, sip your coffee, and be pumping out your latest chart topper with your M Audio Mini 32. So the one that I actually recommend if you've got more to spend is this one. So you can see here you get your pitch bend, your modulation wheels. You get 49 full-size keys there. You get a lot more real estate and more options. So if you do have two lots of $50 to spend, then and you have a bit more space, then something like the Keystation 49 would be my go-to MIDI controller. But the reason I showed you the ones over there is that neither of those were bought new. So the old one there, which is my old Keystation, they used to be silver and they used to be made by E-Keys before M Audio started producing them. That one cost me $40 from a secondhand shop. So they retailed for about $100 new, and it picked it up for 40. The other one there, the Korg Micro Key, they retail for about 200, and I paid just under 100 for it, I think, secondhand. So yeah, you can get some pretty good bargains and good deals if you look around on your eBays or go to your thrift stores that you have, your lucky buggers in the US. You have all the cool thrift stores. We've got Cash Converters, which is like a thrift store, but not as friendly. All right, so let's move on, because that is all I really had to say. Let me check my notes, make sure it is all I had to say. Yes. So what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to pause here because some of the USB devices, I said something when I talked about them, and that is that they will need a powered USB hub. Now, if you're not aware of what a powered USB hub does, it is something, here's what I prepared earlier. It is something like this. So what it has is it has a power socket on one side as the dust falls from it. It has a power socket and a USB cable, like a mini or a micro USB cable. So you plug that into your Mac or your PC or your iPhone or your iPad. Then you make sure it's powered, plugged into AC power. And then you've got 4 ports at the front here. The reason these are important is that depending what device you're using, and even some laptops, but especially iPhones and iPads, they use a lot of power. So you'll need something like this to actually power up your devices and make sure that they have enough power supplied. So the reason I'm mentioning this now is that some MIDI keyboards and some audio interfaces sometimes will have problems with power. You might say, well, that's annoying because what if you're on the go and you want to use it? Well, yeah, it's not that perfect. I've actually found mine have been fine. So I use, in my 49 key keyboards, I can plug straight into my phone and it provides enough power for them running GarageBand. The audio interfaces are a different story. So I will be playing with this. So again, if you subscribe to the channel, once I actually test this one out, I'll be testing this out. I'm 99% sure it'll need to go through a powered USB hub because that's what I've read from other folks. Whereas something like the Steinberg, you can actually use a 5-volt, like you can use a portable USB charger, like a battery pack, to actually power that one up. Oh, I'm going to knock that over. If I knock it over and then I try and return it on Amazon, they probably won't take it back. So I better be careful with that. Now, I'm not going to go into the detail of powered hubs except to, again, send you over to my gear guide, because there I have this, which is my guide to all of the different powered USB hubs. And the reason I've got all these different ones is that there's different power standards. And for some reason, no one company has got their devices in all the different markets. So in the US and in Germany and Italy, it's the Anker brand. They are the go-to that a lot of folks use. In the UK, Atola seem to make the best ones. In Canada, the Amazon Basics, and you can get those in most places as well, but that seems to be the best value for you there. Here in Australia, the Belkin. So that was a Swan brand, this one that I used. You can get a Belkin, which is very similar to this as well. And then in Spain, the CSL, and other parts of Europe, they've got the CSL ones as well. If you've got a recommendation, let me know. And again, if you were buying all this sort of thing, they're only about $20 usually, $20, $30 to get a powered USB hub. They're a very handy addition to your setup for all sorts of other tech as well as music tech. So consider those because, yeah, you may need them. Alrighty, so we'll jump back in here. We've talked MIDI keyboards. In fact, that's where we're up to. So we've gone through audio interfaces. We've looked at microphones. We've looked at headphones. We've looked at MIDI keyboards. So right now, you could have gone out and spent $200 and you've got yourself actually for $40, you get yourself a Behringer UM2. You've then bought a microphone for $40. You've got your Shure PGA 50 48, so $80. There you go. You've bought yourself $30 pair of headphones as well, $40. So yeah, we've only actually spent $120 there, and then a MIDI keyboard's $50, so $170. So if you did want to get the full kit and caboodle, you could go out and spend yourself $170 and you'd have all of those things. And then you may need a couple of these final things we're going to talk about, which are our accessories. Now, I've already covered the powered USB hub. I'm not going to go into detail about these things because they're a little bit low in interest level, but microphone stands, as you can see here, when you're recording with a microphone, especially if you're playing an instrument, you don't want to be holding that sucker in your hand. You may need a microphone stand. Now, I have used some very cheap options for microphone stands. I've propped them on books. I've put piles of things. I've crammed them into various different places, wherever I can, before I had microphone stands. I mean, for 20 odd dollars, go and buy a microphone stand. It is going to make your life a lot easier. But again, if you're getting by and you want to do things budget, then yeah, go for it. And you can find other options for actually mounting your microphone and recording that. Or if you're singing, just hold it in your hand. You can get away with that. XLR cables. So again, if you bought that PGA 48, you'd get the XLR cable included, but you need cables to actually hook things up. Same with guitars and things. Obviously, you'll need to buy guitar cables and that sort of thing to connect your instruments into something like an interface. Pop filters. Yes, these things, pop filters, they are super important. And again, I think over on my gear guide, excuse me. Yes, I do. I've got some recommendations there. So there's a couple that I recommend there. There's the MXL one, which is one similar to this. I still haven't installed it here. I bought one about a month ago now, which is similar to this. It's a nice aluminium one, or you can get the Aokio professional one, which is the budget version, which just has the mesh. Or, as I say every time I talk about pop filters, you can make one. Wire coat hanger, pair of pantyhose, stockings, tights, whatever you call them in your part of the world, and you can make your own custom pop filter. It's all a good deal. Now, the final thing, because this is a channel very much focused on mobile, and I've lost it. No, here it is. I need to talk about these. These are the Lightning to USB adapters. So if you're brand new to recording on your iPhone or your iPad, what this does, and we'll give you a quick demo here, is we plug it into the bottom of our phone or our iPad, and then what it gives us is a USB port and a Lightning port. So we can charge our device, we can send it the power there, and we can send that out to a USB power supply, make sure our iPhone stays powered while we're using it, and then we can connect up USB devices. Now we can connect up one device if we plug it straight in here. So if we had our Behringer and we grab its USB cable, did it come with a USB cable? Yes, it did. So we grab its USB cable here, and then we plug that directly into there. In fact, let's just give a quick demo, shall we? Because this is how it would be if you set this up. So you would grab your USB cable out of your box, like that, and then I've lost it again. I'll put it over here. So yeah, you plug this into your audio interface like so. In fact, we're gonna find out live here why this won't actually work. And then we'll unlock my iPhone there, and we'll plug the other end in here, and I'll be able to show you the error message that we're going to get here. So it's going to. It's not even going to give me an error message. It's not providing enough power, so much so that it's not even giving me an error message normally. Unless it's just DOA and it's not working at all. But what I'll do when I actually do a full demo on this is I'll power this up. I'll plug it in. But yeah, it's just not supplying enough power. What happens if let's just test this. I'm just going to plug it into the USB port of my PC down here. We'll see if it actually powers up. Mostly because if I bought another product that is not working, I'll be a little bit sad. Plug it in there. Yeah, there we go. So that's the sort of thing that you want to see. You want to see some lights come on, make sure that everyone's at home. So it's got there the 48 volt and the power light that have popped on there. So they didn't come on when I plugged it in because it wasn't providing enough power. So yes, definitely need a powered USB hub for this one. We'll be reviewing that in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that one. Where was I? Got a little bit off track. So we're talking about the Lightning to USB adapter. And of course, the reason I mentioned this and the powered USB hub in kind of the same breath is if you pick up both of these, you are kind of set for life. Like if you've got an iPhone or an iPad that has the Lightning connector, and I know that the new ones have the USB-C, so if you've got a brand new iPad Pro, you'll need a different adapter, USB-C to USB adapter. But have one of these, have your powered USB hub, anything you throw at it. And I'm actually starting a series soon which is called Will It USB, because I want to actually try different things and plugging them in. I've had questions about printers. Can you use a USB printer? About typing keyboards, which you can actually use. You can use your regular typing keyboards. Mice, you can't use. So spoiler alert, you can't use a mouse. iOS has no mouse drivers. A lot of people have said, hey, I'm playing Fortnite on my iPad. Can I plug a mouse in via the Lightning to USB? No, you can't. 100% no. Plus, it'd be easy to use a Bluetooth mouse at that point, but no, they don't work. I've tried them. Game controllers, yeah, all sorts of things. Like there's plenty of things that you can do via USB. A lot of them work, some of them don't. I'm going to try and again build up a definitive list so that people aren't asking that question like, can I use my mouse? Can I use my printer? Can I use whatever? All right, so we are getting towards the end. How are we for time? We're 15 minutes to go. This is perfect timing. We need a bit of coffee. It's going to be cold. Not good. So yes, we've finished up with our regular section here. So what I'll do now is we will jump back over and see what is happening here in the chat. And then I'm going to prepare. I've got on my phone here. I'm going to jump into my channel and take a look at some of the comments that we have from folks about this topic, because I'd love to hear the feedback that we have from folks there. But let's jump over here and see what we have here. So, so I'll find the spot that I was at to here in the chat here. Gino, hello to you, Gino Therese from Chicago. Great to have you here. Australian, brilliant. As a basic setup for a whole package to use, could you start with the Behringer unit, that Droid mic, USB, and the headphone set? Can you set them all up on my phone? Yeah, so, and when you said, can you set them up, I had lunch with Australian this week, and we had a chat about this. So, yeah, the difference is you wouldn't want the USB mic and this one, because this is a USB interface. What you want to go with is the USB interface and then an XLR mic. But yes, and then you'll need the Lightning to USB adapter and a powered hub. So you can see it gets a bit confusing and complex. That's why I recommend this sucker. So I'd go for this as your first option, because it's just simple. Everything's included. All you need to do is plug stuff in and get going, and you get a pretty good quality sound. So I would go down that path for your first option if you're just going to spend a little bit, and then maybe upgrade to the whole USB setup later on. But yeah, we can have a chat about that. So Vincent Gaglio says, I bought the PGA 98 Shure. It's a clip-on mic, but the bell on my saxophone, I got it for $100, but I like it. Cool. Okay, yeah, a clip-on mic for a sax. I love it. You have to send me some of your saxophone work, Vincent. That sounds very cool. Yes, and Patrick Moonberg's just answered Australian's question there. Hello, Sunray. Hello from Adelaide. We've got 3 plus me. There are 4 people that have been in this live stream from Adelaide, Australia. That is, I think we've had 1 maximum ever. So that's awesome. Hello, Australians and Adelaide folks. And of course, folks from the US, Canada, the UK. I think we've got a lot of parts of the globe. We don't think we've got anyone from Asia, but here at the moment, it's probably a bit too early still morning for them. Sorry to my buddies there for making these streams so early. Iglesia, hello to you. One strange thing, I've used a USB interface on an iPad and it won't let you use it unless you have a powered USB hub, yes, via the Apple Connection Kit adapter. But when I use it with my Galaxy S8 via the on-the-go, it's just plug and play. Yeah, and that's the thing. It will depend on the device you're using, on the iPhone or the iPad you're using, and how much power it has available. And yeah, the iPads and the iPhones are a little bit finicky and picky. Like I've had some things that I'll plug into my 6S Plus here and they'll work fine because it's a bigger unit and it's got more power. And then I plug it into my 10S and it doesn't work because it's slightly smaller. It's got a smaller battery, smaller screen, so it's got less power actually going out there. And my iPhone 5S, yeah, I need a powered hub for everything. iPads can vary. So yes, powered USB hubs are probably the one thing I'd recommend investing in. It's a bit of a pain that you have to do that for a lot of things. But yeah, it's kind of just the way it goes. So yes, good point. Jason Roberts says the camera connection kit was a good investment for me. Needed it to get my iPad to talk to my Behringer mixer. Yes, yeah, exactly. And I've even tried my Samson mixpad that I use here through iOS, and I've been able to connect that up with this because it actually plugs into AC power, which works well. And Gino says, get the Apple camera connection. Chinese ones are very iffy in my experience. Yes, in my experience too. I actually did a video where I compared the a $3 one with the $50 one, because it's $50 here in Australia to buy these. Bit crazy. About $35 US. I think it's 59 actually Australian. But yes, I have bought some of those, and I do have some of those. I've shown them before. They're over in the drawer. I'll knock stuff over if I try to get them. But yeah, the cheaper ones, yeah, they work sometimes. But the problem is, because they don't have the, what is it, the RF, no, there's letters, some letters chip in there that Apple need, the encoding chip, then yeah, as soon as Apple make a change to their software, to iOS, then they basically brick them. Whereas if you've got the Apple one, it's always going to stay updated and be able to be used. So that is my 2 cents as well. So I agree. So let's have a look here now. So the results are in. Are you interested? Do you want to know the results of this poll? I actually haven't checked them yet this morning. So let's jump in here. So I asked, where is it? My community tab. Here we go. So if you go to my channel, by the way, if you go to StudioLive Todaycom, either on your mobile or on your desktop, and you go to the channel page and the community tab, you'll be able to see all the different conversations, the polls, the pictures, the stories, all that stuff that I share as well. So I asked the question, if you had just $50 to spend and had no gear, which budget equipment would you buy for your mobile or home studio? So here is the answers. Drum roll. Other, which I put in there was 5%, and I asked folks to comment. The fourth place goes to MIDI keyboards. At 16% of votes were for MIDI keyboards. So not a lot of folks think, and that's probably because getting a good quality MIDI keyboard for under 50 is pretty hard. And for those that play guitar, that sing, that produce with loops, if you don't play a keyboard, MIDI keyboard's not going to do a lot for you. Third place, with 18% of the votes, was headphones. I'm actually a little surprised that they came lower down, probably because most people maybe have headphones. Maybe you've got a decent pair of headphones for your music listening, and they're going to suffice for your actual studio. So that may be the case there. In second place, with 25% of the votes, was audio interface. So that makes sense again. Audio interfaces are pretty important. So making sure that you have a way to connect up your gear to your computer, to your iPhone, to your iPad. And yeah, you've already probably got there. I should have done that thing where when it gets down to 2, you say the winner. It's like, when it's those beauty pageants and they're like, and the third runner-up is this, but then you say the runner-up, but you actually say the winner. Because if you say second place is this, and then everyone knows who won. But it's microphones. So 35%. So 1 out of every 3 people that answered, and we had 153 that voted in the survey, said that microphones are it. So these are the most important parts. And do I agree with that? Probably. Yeah, I think so. In terms of upping your audio quality, especially if you're recording microphones, if you're vocals, if you're recording guitars, if you're recording instruments, if you're recording any live sound, a microphone is super important, and having a good quality mic. The only reason I'd hesitate there is that the built-in mics on these are getting so much better, and even on my headphones, like I do a lot of my tutorial videos, I just use this microphone. Like on my earbuds, there's a microphone there, and that's what I actually use to record the audio, the spoken word audio for a lot of my videos. But again, if you want to record vocals and you want to record guitars and you want to record some more delicate sounds, then I can see that using an actual microphone is going to give you something better. Realised I've had no water for this entire time. I'm getting a bit parched. We'll finish up in just a few moments. If you're here live, throw any more questions that you have. We'll probably have about 5 minutes for any questions or comments at the end. But let's jump through here, because I know a lot of folks can't be here live, but they've still taken the time to leave me a comment on this. So let's jump through and take a listen to some of those that we've had here. So we have MagiHawk23 says, mostly work in EDM production is done with MIDI, so I would go for a MIDI keyboard. And yeah, a lot of people seem to agree with that sentiment. We had David Crespo said, good headphones so I can hear how my mix really sounds like. Yep, a good point. Top Secret says, you'll definitely need to take a look at the Raspberry Pi. Oh, that's right. He went into a big thing about the Raspberry Pi and how cool that would be for recording. And I'm like, that's so cool. If anyone knows, has anyone done that? Used a Raspberry Pi to create like a home studio, a DAW, running on a Raspberry Pi. If you don't know about Raspberry Pis, they're like little kit computers. They're like basically a computer on a chip, and you connect them up to things. And yeah, people that are smart and know stuff use them a lot. We have Santiago Cullen says, get yourself a good pair of headphones and an iRig for $10. So yeah, and that's another way if you're a guitarist, especially headphones and like one of the cheap sort of plug-in iRigs or the Tascam IX Zed will give you a good sound. Emil, hello to you. Definitely a MIDI keyboard. So there, a vote for MIDI keyboard. We've had MRSH Music says MIDI keyboard as well, and headphones. Tyler Sawyer said a used wah. So clearly a guitarist wants to get a wah pedal. So before you record anything, you want to make sure you can do some kickin' Hendrix style wah. We've got Perfectly Extra says, I don't even have proper headphones now, so that would be a useful thing to get. Yeah, I think so. I think headphones are definitely worthwhile, as does YED says also headphones. And my buddy Amarasaya says microphone, because I don't know whether you can buy a cheap audio interface. And again, $50 is not enough to buy decent headphones. I'm paraphrasing there, but that's basically what he had to say. So yeah, some really interesting points and some really good things there. Again, the bottom line here is buy what you can afford and what you think you need. But what I wanted to do here is give you a bit of an idea of what you should prioritize, perhaps, what you should be thinking about, some tips about the actual buying process, where you should buy it, how you should buy it, sticking to those brand names and making sure you're buying from somewhere reputable. Now, here comes the moment before we say goodbye to the folks here, and I'll finish off where I always say on these live streams, I do these every weekend, I give you 59 minutes of content, and then I need 1 minute just to keep the lights on and pay some bills. So if you can can bear with me. There's a few ways you can support me here on the channel. If you're here live on the live stream, you can use the super chat option. So there's a little super chat button down the bottom of the chat there. You can hit that and you can make any donation of your choosing directly to me. You can head over to petejohns.com and listen to my music. It's another way that you can support me there. Obviously, by watching the channel here, watching the videos, liking and commenting and subscribing to the channel, that really helps out. And if you are in the market for any of this gear, head over to StudioLiveToday.com/gear, and that's got some affiliate links there, which means that if you make a purchase, they will break off a little chunk and send it my way. And that helps me to buy the products that you see here, to review products, and to keep making videos. So there you go. That wasn't too painful, now was it? Alrighty, thank you so much here. Thank you. We've got Gyro here, Jason Robert saying hello. Omar Torres is here. Yeah, we've got the same folks that we've had here, but I wanted to say thank you to everyone that we had here on the live stream. We had Goth Demon, Vincent Gaglio, Darren Bryant, Jason Robert, Jeff Turner, T Mac, K Sharp, YVNG. We've had Mike Swain, Luke Shaw Music's been here, Steve Dalbeck. We've had Gussie Wells. We've had Dion Close is here, Storm Plays is here, Gino Therese is here, Australian. We've got Jakey, Patrick Moonbird, Sun Ray, Iglesia is here, and Gyro, and that's his, and Omar Torres. Hello to all of you folks. I really appreciate you taking the time out and going to the effort of coming and watching live and contributing your questions and your comments to the live stream here today. If you are watching on the replay, please leave a comment. Please leave a like. If you got any value out of this today, if you found it interesting, I'd love it if you hit the like button. That just tells me that, hey, Pete, make more videos like this, or if you don't like it, make less videos like this. So it really does help me know what to do and how to do it. But that is going to do it for this week. Thank you for all of your support and all of your time here today. Keep creating, and I'm going to see you on the next video. Cheers.